We've spoken a few times about John Frankenheimer, and so now let's discuss his most recognised film, 1962's The Manchurian Candidate. Stylistically derived from Alfred Hitchcock, thematically informed by Cold War espionage fiction, elevated into an American cinema classic via Frankenheimer's passionate treatment, truly entering the annals of enduring film masterpieces or plausible masterpieces via Angela Lansbury's Eleanor Shaw, aka Iceland. John Frankenheimer learnt when directing television the best ways of photographing psychological drama, the data of consciousness, and he was too a phenomenal admirer of Hitchcock. Coupled with cinematographer Lionel Linden, he shot FOTD's Destination Moon and Conquest of Space. The Manchurian Candidate, silly as it might seem, spirals into a spellbinding, aesthetically adventurous, and narratively riveting trip. One I'm rather surprised is as good as it is, or that I admire it as much as I do. Do view the film now if you have not seen it, or rather if you haven't seen it and would prefer not to have the storyline spoiled for you. Although it was far from being an outright Red Scare propaganda piece in and of itself, it took aimed shots at McCarthyism whilst treating with narrative curiosity what it might be like if such a vast international communist conspiracy, as we know now the Soviet Union and China couldn't even get along well, were to exist, and if such paranoia had a justification. The delusional imaginings of the hyper-vigilant, ultra-nationalist, anti-communist American right wing, caricatured now, though very real then, and still reverberating today, are the stuff of fanatical, slick Bond film antagonists. They had their international opponents depicted as diabolical and wicked as possible, and so it made for a great inspiration when devising a vividly filmic and narratively exciting motion picture experience. I don't necessarily think that all opposition to communism then or even now is delusional lunacy, although so much of it was drummed up by opposition to the Soviet Union, and many sincere socialist advocates were misled and marred by support for that ultimately rather sinister, essentially neo-Tsarist empire. The Manchurian Candidate deserves to be praised as an act of filmic composition. Frankenheimer and Linden's collaboration is absolutely stunning, and the performers are all tremendous, from Lawrence Harvey's iconic victim Raymond Shaw, Frank Sinatra, a better actor than anyone expected. Most impressive in 1955 is The Man with the Golden Arm by Otto Preminger, portrays Major Bennett Marco, obviously Angela Lansbury as Eleanor Iceland, James Gregory as Senator John Iceland himself, John McGiver as the noble Senator Thomas Jordan, Janet Leigh, a good turn as Eugenie Cheney, and possibly most memorably, in some way, Kai D as Dr. Yen Lo. It is still a thrilling and exciting viewing experience. Again, I'm very pleasantly shocked at how refined and classy the picture really is. And I think a lot of my admiration for it stems from how Eleanor Shaw / Iceland is presented, performed, and how she ties this entire narrative together. I think that without this character's presence or her believability courtesy of Lansbury, the film would seem completely, or rather more so, sensational and inane, a one-note conspiracy thriller about a wicked communist plot, although it instead becomes a film about a fiercely determined, persevering communist, presumably Soviet, double-agent loyalist, whose own son has been sacrificed by her superiors to enact their malicious assassination plot. She loves her son ruthlessly. It seems to eventually supplant her dedication to the political cause, or she claims it will in due time to Raymond. She was so committed to her cause that she was willing to marry, to lead several patriotic organizations across the United States, to stir up and exacerbate anti-communist fervor, hysteria amongst the nation. And then her actual reveal as an agent is one of the most unexpected, still rather submerged in popular culture, of film narrative twists, one of the medium's greatest, I would suggest, in terms of how it is gradually revealed what a shock it is and how it adds so much depth to the narrative and the character, explains a lot of what has happened so far, gives a degree of plausibility as to how they've managed to infiltrate Raymond's personal life in the United States. It's a great twist in my opinion. She hosts one of the most complicated and fascinating pathos in the history of English language cinema, and I genuinely feel as though she manifests a recurring subconscious implication throughout The Manchurian Candidate, displaying one personality, hiding another. Some are willing to do this, Eleanor, some are externally coerced, her son Raymond, although I, and I see many others, presume that Raymond may not have been truly brainwashed during the climactic set piece of the picture. I will say Eleanor Shaw slash Iceland's cabal must extend such influence so as to ensure Jocelyn Jordan will wear the Queen of Diamonds outfit, and if not, it is an improbable coincidence. In any case, I am a great admirer of the film's aesthetics, Frankenheimer's technical efficiency, Lyndon's photographic excellence, and even narratively via Lansbury's role in particular. The Manchurian Candidate, I consider it a highly commendable cinema classic. I really like these slick, polished thrillers, inspired by Alfred Hitchcock, no doubt, although The Manchurian Candidate doesn't copy his technique so much as it appropriates his most fluid visual engineering when it most requires them, only utilizing a Hitchcock-inspired method if it is deemed the most appropriate way of realizing a scene, and it often is, rather than the, say, De Palma approach of considering Hitchcock a language to completely communicate with and relying on his approach, dependent on it, as opposed to merely borrowing a particular technique where the film can think of no superior alternative. And I revere De Palma, don't perceive that as an attack whatsoever. If there is anything else I want to share about The Manchurian Candidate, it is that it is one of the most evident examples of a director handling dubious material, and Frankenheimer cast Lansbury specifically as well, and elevating it into a cinema classic. Is it a classic? I think I'd say so. Do let me know if you agree or disagree. Thanks all again. I will continue my 1950s sci-fi with a particularly daunting attempt to sum up my thoughts on the big title from 1951. We all know what that film is, and oh my, is it a powerful picture. What can I say? We'll find out soon. Have a superb day, night, wherever you are. I hope you are